Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wellbeing Wednesday. It's our first one in July. It's the 5th of July. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're live or whether you're watching us on the recording. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Today, our topic is chronic disease, but we will also be talking about feet, and we have the wonderful Robin taking us through some beautiful Qigong as well. But firstly, this morning, we would like to welcome June. Good morning, June.
Morning. Hello, hello. So following on from last week where I mentioned the difference between chronic and acute, I'd just like to go over that again in case anybody listening or watching today didn't see last week, because I think it's really important to clarify the difference, just because I have, in my experience, had so many people using the term chronic incorrectly. And we just want to make it clear. And I think you did that, Carrie, in your social media posts. You did a really good job. But I have an example which might help. Chronic means something that has been there a long time. You may not have actually noticed it, but it's a buildup of toxins in your system that then manifests as something with a label. And in the West, we get very fixated on giving things labels. We want to go to the doctor for a diagnosis because we want to know what's happening. However, other modalities can actually identify what's happening without the label. So you don't necessarily need that. If you have something that's been going on for a long time and you think about your life in the progression of things, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, all of those things come together and contribute to our well-being in any given moment. So what we end up with is maybe feeling very, very uncomfortable, pain, discomfort, dis-ease, as in a lack of ease. So a perfect example of the difference between chronic and acute is hay fever. This is not one of your major chronic diseases, but it is an example. It comes back every year. So that's chronic. It's coming back in your life. It's there all the time in the background, but it becomes acute in the season when the hay fever is rife. So that's I feel a really good example. Now, what a lot of people do when they think they've got a buildup of toxins is they go, right, I must detox. Now, the other thing to a word of caution here is just be very careful when you're detoxing. You don't go gung-ho into a liver cleanse if you're feeling tired and exhausted. If you've got something like ME or chronic fatigue or, dare I say that word, long COVID, you want to actually make sure that you're doing something to support your energy as well as doing the clearing. Because if you set to and start trying to suck things out of yourself, you're going to just make yourself more exhausted. So that's where we approach things from in the acupuncture, the kinesiology, homeopathy, naturopathic kind of world. We want to make sure the person has enough energy and enough strength to actually do the clearing out. So yeah, like you can't go around your house vacuuming and dusting if you're exhausted. You need to have a rest in between. So that's why detoxing needs to be done in gentle stages. And now I've mentioned homeopathy. It's very unfortunate we haven't got a homeopath with us on this team, because I would, for one, really appreciate that. So if there's anybody out there who feels that they can contribute homeopathy to this, the knowledge that we've got, that would be wonderful. But I have had a lot of experience of being around homeopaths for many, many years. And I've consulted homeopaths, and I've felt the benefit of homeopathy for myself, my children, my pets. It's marvelous, fantastic medicine. And we're talking about energy medicine in our realm. And so we're talking about balancing the energies, but the homeopaths have a particular take on this that is slightly different to Chinese medicine, although it does exist to some extent in Chinese medicine. They talk about miasms, and these are things that come through the ancestors and get passed through the generations and manifest. And that's why they will always ask you about your family history, because they need to know if there's any symptoms that you are having that might have started back generations ago. Now we're beginning to understand in the West that DNA is not fixed. You know, there's been a lot of historically, oh, it's in your DNA, it's your genetics. Your genetics are at fault for this ailment. In a way, they're moving slightly towards that energetic understanding, because the fact is that the DNA isn't fixed. It can be altered. We know that now. And that's where we come in with the energetic medicine. So I think that now we're coming to a place now, I feel this time in our human history is when we are able to make a combination properly with proper understanding of each other. And we're not two sides of the fence anymore. We actually can combine our knowledge and use the Western detailed knowledge of the microbiomes and the microcosms and the tiny little neurotransmitters and the enzymes and the cellular activity that they can do so well. And then there's the overall energetic picture from our side of things, which can perfectly merge together. So I'd just like to finish by talking about Pam Gregory again, because she's one of my favorite people to listen to. And she's talking about right now being an opportunity to heal things from the past. And I personally am feeling that very much. I'm going through quite a lot of, coincidental or not, people from my past are coming back into my life. And we are reviewing how things were when we knew each other. I've just spent the weekend with a very dear friend who I was at university with in Canada 50 years ago. And we haven't seen each other for 30 years. And we spent 24 hours just blah, 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 blah. And then we had a little rest. And then we had blah, 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 blah. And it was amazing because it gives you insight. If you can share that going back into your past with someone, you can do it on your own. You can do self-reflection. You can meditate. You can consider all your ages. And as you get to be an elder, you get the opportunity to do that, to look back on things. But you can do it at any time. You know, it's really worth having a look at what Pam Gregory's got to say about this new moon that's coming up on the 17th of July. So I will finish there and we will move on because we've got quite a lot to get through. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, June. That was really interesting. And you got to meet your friend again. So does she live here?
She lives in Canada.
And just came here to visit.
Yeah, she's visiting other relatives, not just me. She wasn't here just 24 hours, but she could only spare me 24 hours, which I was so grateful for. It was amazing. It was just amazing.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Can
and
you
because
find
of that, I got in touch with someone else from the past and we've had more reflection. It's really, yeah, it's really good.
I remember speaking on Wellbeing Wednesday. I think Maureen and yourself and probably Helen as well mentioned when you think about someone and suddenly from the past and they'll ring you or you bump into them.
Yep.
And how that works. Really strange. Thank you so much. Let's get on. Good morning, Helen. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning, Kerry. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah. So I'm just going to spotlight myself and Julie because Julie's going to do my footsies. So I am very, very excited about this. And let's see, just for those that are watching the recording, we're not really sure whether this will record in the way that we want it to record. So you'll just have to listen and kind of imagine if things don't happen. Julie, I'm going to hand over to you. And as soon as you're ready for me to show the pictures, let me know.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So I trained as a reflexology professional in 2005, and then I came across Jane Sheehan, who does foot reading training, and that was the following year in April 2006. And she's got a wonderful book and it includes a sort of little map of what I'm going to talk about a bit today. Okay, and I also came across another book by Chris Stormer called The Language of Our Feet, of the Feet, and Reading Toes. So I've been accessing those books to some extent for what I'm doing today. It's going to be a very quick one, not totally thorough, and it's the first time I've ever worked with someone not physically with me, and I'm sort of sussing what to say as I'm looking at them, so I'm going to go with the flow. Okay, so I was amazed once I'd done that foot reading training, how when I spoke to people about it, they started taking their shoes and socks off for me to read their feet. And anyone that asked me to do a talk, oh, well, will you do one on foot reading? I'm like, yeah, okay then. But yeah, that's a few years ago. So now, in general, the right side of the body and the right foot is about the past and the yang aspects of life. The left side of the body and the foot are about the present and future and the more yin aspects. Now, the yang, I talk about being male, active, and it's like the food of a meal. Whereas the yin is the more female and the background support, so like the plate of meal, the plate for the meal. So if you'd only got the food food would be probably more scattered than if you've got the plate there supporting it. So that's what we'll consider to some extent as we go through. Now, I'm not sure how Helen's actually holding her feet, so do you want to just put the first photo on? Here it's easier to tell because she's going to be stood up. Oh no, she's not. She's lying down with her feet out when we've got the share. So usually I'd be sort of noticing how she's holding her overall posture and sort of see an experience as we go along. And right, so with this photo, if you look at the left foot, the big toes sort of leaning off to the left a little bit more than the right. And so that's telling us a little bit about what's happening for her. And then if we go to photo 2, don't quite know why I've said that on photo 2. Right, so both feet turn out, and the right more than the left. So in some way, Helen, you're sort of holding back stuff from it in the past with the right foot, whereas the present and future seem more sort of on track with your left foot. Now, these photos are from about a month ago, in May. Then if we go to the third photo, right, so the right foot is forward of the left when she's seated. So when she's relaxed and seated, she's you need to take notice of what's coming up to enable you to be sort of more on track and know that you can do this. So that's the energy of that. Then if you go to photo 4, the next one. So when we're looking at the feet, we really think about where the hard skin is. And if you look at this right foot, big toe's got some hard skin on it. So that's protecting yourself. And that big toe is about sort of the joy in life, thinking, beliefs, ideals, and self-esteem. And the right instep, again, if you look towards the heel, there's hard skin. And we also look at the colouring of the foot, and it's looking a bit sort of yellowy, which is showing up more on the other photo actually than on this one when the feet, the soles were together. But the yellowing is about feeling a bit fed up in some ways, and the terminology is bitter, jaundiced view, a cowardly or cheesed off. And that's where, when I'm working individually with the person physically there, I'm sort of more sussing which of those feels more right for you. And the person themselves sort of resonate with what I say, and usually I'm with the person to suss how they're feeling about what I'm saying. Now, the overall colour is quite gently pink. If you look towards the ball of the foot, the ball of that right foot, there's a bit of whiteness. So that's a sense of sort of exhaustion and thinking about what you want in life. But there's some pink there, so it's sort of bubbling up to enable you to go towards what you want. And then if we go to the next photo, so this is the left foot, and again we've got some hard skin towards the heel and the sole, so that's again about protecting yourself. And I think that probably resonates with you, would you say, Helen?
Yeah. Apparently I'm very well guarded.
Right, and then if we go to the next photo, right, I was thinking, don't know if I've gone to the wrong one. Let me just yeah, we'll just go to the next one if you can.
My garden is all over my feet.
So this one, I was really interested that you've got the butterfly and the plant on your right foot. So the right foot to do with the past and the yang. So looking out and back and perhaps processing stuff that's happened in this life and past lives. So when we think about what June was saying earlier, and being ready to transform from the density of the caterpillar into a butterfly. And when you look at the toes, they're sort of curving, and we sometimes call this clawing. So they're bending up, so the length of the sole of the toe isn't as grounded. And that's a way of sort of protecting yourself and not showing other people how you're feeling about life, but you keep yourself together and right, I'll get through this anyway. And that was particularly more on the left foot, which I could see on some of the other pictures. So it's holding things in, either because the outside world is sort of enforced or trying to restrain you, or because you feel as though you don't want to express your thoughts and feelings for some reason. Okay, then the next photo, please. And she's got so many beautiful tattoos that I could have sort of done even more symbolic information on. So when we look at the foot, we look at the line of the tips of the toes, and some people's go from small toe to big toe and it's just one line. But when you look at Helen's, you go from small toe to second toe, so first little toe, fourth toe, third toe, second toe, they're in line, but then the big toe is sort of a bit shorter. So that's quite a typical one of showing what's happening for that person and how they are as a sort of personality. So if you think of palm reading, in my understanding, is more to do with this is sort of your life plan and this is what's going to happen. You're going to, you know, get married at whatever age and have so many children. Whereas foot reading is telling you more about what's happening in your life and how you're coping with it. But then you've also got these aspects that show you a bit more about your sort of general personality and destiny, I would say. So with this big toe being that shorter than the rest of the line, the situation is that the energies can't get lost, and they're sort of not necessarily dealt with immediately. So quite often you think you've got 20 things at once that you're thinking about, and you'll have already put 10 of them already into action. And you often work best in a support role. The second toe, particularly on the left foot, is long, and the toe, that toe shows natural leadership qualities, which I'm not surprised about from what I know of you. And that you're able to delegate with ease, but also when you're not in that leadership role, you sort of can be a little bit sort of on the bossy side, and you know, people know that you're there because you're so used to being that leader. Yeah, and in a nice way, I think you come across with that. So that toe, that second toe seems quite straight, more than the others, which if you look at that left foot, the others look a little bit more clawed. And so that's even the day that you took this photo, how you're feeling will change. Okay, so it is quite a snapshot in time. So each toe has got the different person's thoughts and each has a different meaning. And there's also, when we're doing foot reading, there's vertical zones, so going from each toe down sort of through the foot, and there's also horizontal zones. So the toes are one zone, the next part of the foot where the ball of the foot is the next zone, the instep part is another zone, and then the heel is the final zone. And I'm not going to be able to go into all that detail today. So the sole of the foot is about not necessarily wishing to show the world how you're feeling and what's going on inside, and keeping close to yourself. And that sense of those clawed toes are very much, people might not realize they're clawed, but that's you protecting yourself. Whereas the top of the foot is more about what's happening behind your back and what you do want to show the world. Okay, if we go on to the next photo.
Oh, I've lost the photos.
Well, it's still on screen.
Hold on 1 second.
Right, so the next photo is that one that's on the bottom that will come bigger soon. So the top of the right foot and the big toe and the top of the ball of the foot are quite on the sort of white, which shows some sort of exhaustion. And then you can see the ball of the foot sort of is protruding towards the other foot a little bit. So quite often that's when people are holding emotional stuff in. Sometimes we call them bunions, but I wouldn't say what Helen's got is as much as what someone would call a bunion. But when I think of my nan, she was definitely like that. So because of that sense of whiteness with it, it's that sense of being a bit drained and washed out. And it's about looking at what's happening behind your back and what you show in the world. So the sort of bunion shape, if we call it that, but it is not a precise bunion. Passion and holding on to emotions. And the left foot top is paler, and yet the toes are pinker. So the sort of thinking, beliefs, ideals and self-esteem are, you're there with the thinking, and it's the more emotional side of things that you're more exhausted on, I would say. The top right ankle, lateral, so that's on the outside, relates to the attachment to things, motivation, security and fear. The right foot seems a bit more pink and activated, working things through. So working through what's happened in your past. And both feet seem quite long. So I've got a friend who's quite tall and she's got incredibly small feet. But these feet, for the height of Helen, seem quite long. And that's a person when they want recognition for their merits. And when you think this is a sort of birth thing, so wanting to be noticed and possibly even trying to hog the limelight a little bit. But even when you finish growing in sort of maturity size, your feet will change, and they can even change a full size up or down. And so it's not just going up, it could be.
I have, my feet have changed. I went up to a size 9 once and then came back down to it. I'm most of my life I've been a 7, but I did actually hit 9 once, and then I was like, what's going on with my feet? And
right, so what was happening in your life then, would you say, when they went up to 9? Because that might be when you weren't.
Oh, that was the 80s. I was living a debaucherous life, enjoying all the things that I could.
Right, well, that makes sense. So you weren't having to hold back so much. Wow. Thank you. So when you think about your feet taking you everywhere in life, and so any tension that happens will reflect through your feet. And when you think of reflexology, we work the whole of the body through the feet. And I mean, I've had people in reflexology that I've sort of picked up. This particular guy, he got a neck problem, an elbow problem that he'd not told me about. He thought he got a back problem, but when I worked the spine reflexes, there was nothing. Then when I went to the top of his foot and worked on the top of his foot like that, it was like I was pressing bubble pack and bursting the bubbles, and he got a lung infection. So the lung infection was referring to his back. So he was a pub manager. He went to the doctor and got some antibiotics and got back to work. But he also said, you've picked up some things that I didn't even tell you about that I know I've got problems with. So this is where the reflexology and foot reading go together so well to help the understanding of the person. So if you think of a tablecloth on a table and you pull one end and the other end moves, that's what's happening through your feet and through your life. So when you were in the 80s and really enjoying life, you were much more wanting to be out there and show people how you felt. Yeah. So
yeah, I was a bit more had more attitude than I have now, if anybody can believe that's possible. But I wanted to prove that I had a right to be
authentic.
alive and,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean, up front and central kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's your authenticity. And because
I don't know if I was probably
well, I'd say because you've had that experience, you'll be able to allow that to come to the fore more, and it's then just see how other people are with you. When you sort of think of what's happened in the past with your right foot and in the present and future, and how much you've processed the past will show through your feet as well. Then also, if we think about the foot arch, which I've not particularly got a photo to show you on that one at the moment. So high arches is how you feel and about independence and strong inner resources. So I'd noticed that on some of the other photos we've seen. Sometimes difficult to accept help and feeling as though you've got to be that sort of fiercely independent, needing time on your own, liking your own company. And the toes line sort of tell you a bit about how you're coping with all that as well. Right, next photo, please. Now, as she's standing, there's a space on the left foot between the second and third toes. So present and future. The second toe is more to do with feelings, and and on the left it's passion and how much of emotions and desires, throwing herself into a life, and it's really about communicating that with other aspects of life. So the third toe is more to do with, on the left, the doing of things and the work and creativity and determined activity. So somehow there's some sort of, it's not quite connecting through that. So what you're wanting to do and be creative and your feelings about those aren't exactly 100% sort of collating together. Yeah.
I can identify with that, because it's been a kind of continuous, not struggle, I'm not sure if that's the right word, but like what I want to do, what I think I should be doing, and what people tell me I should be doing. And I kind of, because people want to pigeonhole me, you be in this bit, and I'm kind of like, nah. So it's a constant pull and push.
Yeah. So the gap between the second and third toe is not doing as much as you could and your passion wishes you to, and perhaps your second toe is showing that steadfastness, but could actually be holding you back. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see now that you've had these little insights. Then if we go on to the next photo. So we're going to think about the big toe on the left foot, and there's a slight gap between that big toe and the rest of the toes. It's not as significant as between the second and third, but when you think of the big toe being the beliefs, self-esteem and ideals, what we've already said just makes sense that it's not transmitting through to your feelings and to what you're actually doing. And that will sort of help you in some ways, but also it'll change what you're actually doing and how you're feeling about it. Then if we go on to the final photo. And it'll be the right foot. And then if you notice on this one, we've got that beautiful butterfly again. So she's coming into her own, she's flying, ready to fly. And if you look between the second toe, the big toe and the second toe, there's a gap on there. And that's more significant on this foot than on the other foot, but also this foot hasn't got the bigger gap between the second and third toe. So again, it's about that delayed reaction of your thoughts to your emotions. And you might wake up in the morning and think, why did I let them get away with being like that with me? And so it's about telling yourself, make your decision perhaps tomorrow when your emotions have had time to catch up with your thoughts. And then also when you look at the little toe, has got a sort of slight bend. And I know when I first did this foot reading training, Jane Sheehan looked at my little toes and said, oh, you're a bit of a rebel. I'm like, what, me? And now I know I am. So so I think we've got some aspect of that there, Helen. But
me, a rebel? Never, Julie. I am the most amicable, compliant person you're ever going to meet.
Yeah, amicable and compliant is different to just those, you're in the People's Health Alliance. We're all got that sense of person B, as I was called at a meeting recently. And we're here to just sort of express ourselves honestly and help people in ways that feel right. And that's where, you know, we might have some of that sense of the toes being back a little bit so that we're not overly pushing, because we're sensitive to how other people feel as well. Right, let me just bent, yeah, so bent towards the little toe, particularly on the left foot from the earlier photo. And it's about can't contact to say that the change the mind. So it's that allowing yourself to change your mind and recognizing it. But as we said earlier, it might be that sleep on it, then you'll know the next day how you feel, rather than complying so much with other people when it doesn't feel right to. And the second toe seemed quite grounded and long, and yet further looks still a little bit curving and steadfast. So because of that more straightness, that's balancing your feelings out. Okay, so just remember that with the feet, they're very much telling you how you're feeling, how you're coping at this point in time. We've had a wonderful example from Helen that she has changed feet sizes quite significantly, which there's not everybody can express that. And it's really about that. How am I coping with life? How do I want to cope with life? And I know my particular approach on life now is about being authentic to yourself. And even the way you've got your tattoos and thinking of being that butterfly, when you think butterflies travel the world and they don't even have a sat nav, as in an artificial intelligence one. And I know you've pretty much traveled different parts of the world as well. And yeah, that's it. So thank you very much.
Oh no, I think Helen's frozen.
Hold on,
Are you there,
just
Helen?
stop the share. Thank you, Julie. Oh, have I? I am. I just wanted to say thank you. And the thing that I'm really taking away is because it does resonate, is for me to actually give myself some time to rather than, because I can be quite reactive when stuff happens, I can be quite not reactive, but I can respond quite quickly. But usually the next day I'm like, did I really, is that really what I, you know, so to kind of see that that's something that came through, and that so I will, any decisions anybody wants from me from now on, you can wait 24 hours.
And we can look forward to you going up a size in your shoes.
No, I'm quite happy being a 7. I'm not sure I want to go back up anymore, so that's cool. But thank you very much. I'm sitting here now picking hard skin off my foot because the protection thing as well, it's come up a couple of times. Well, this is the second time, and the first time was when I went to see a psychic, and she was like, you are so well guarded. And I don't consider myself in that way. I think I'm quite an open book, but apparently I'm very, very guarded and very and I think that's probably rooted in my my childhood in terms of needing to protect myself, and it's hard not to, and especially with what's going on.
And when you think of what June said
it.
about the chronic things in life, and that it might even be passed through from, you know, previous lives, or your sacred contract type thing. And so because it's been your approach in life since being a baby and child, you won't realize that you're protecting yourself. And then it's like, oh, actually, I've been told this again. So let's just live that and see how I continue with my steps forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I will stop the spotlighting now, I think. And Kerry will come back and tell us stuff.
I'm here. That was really fascinating. And as I've got to know you through PHA, and yeah, I could see all of those things that Julie was saying.
I'm not really sure which one. Yeah, okay.
We all love you, Helen. We all love you. And and Julie, thank you so much. Really lovely to see you this morning. You can't always join us. That was great. I really, really found that amazingly fascinating. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, shall we move? Shall we have the beautiful Robin to get us moving? Morning, Robin.
Morning, everybody. Can you see me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Welcome, Robin. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. Thank you for that, Julie and Helen. It was absolutely fascinating. So much information you can pick up from somebody's feet. It's amazing. Okay, so first of all, I'd like to just say you can do this practice seated or you can stand up, whatever you feel right now that you want to do. I am an instructor for people over 50, so a lot of the people that come to my classes have got chronic conditions and they've been advised to come along to some gentle exercise, which it is, but very beneficial because it can help strengthen the body, helps promote the flow of chi throughout the body, the blood, so the circulation gets better, more flexibility, and it can really give you that sense of well-being, overall well-being and empowerment, because you're actually doing something for yourself. I mean, you can get that from other activities as well, of course, but it really increases that inner strength, that core strength. So let's just find our feet first of all. So what I practice is something called Taiji, Qigong, Shibashi, which I know is a mouthful, but basically it's a combination of posture, so good posture as well as anyone can do, you know, according to their ability. Breathing, synchronizing the breathing with movement, mindful movement. So when you combine all three, that helps to promote like an overall healthcare system. And it is actually a medical Qigong system created by Professor Lin Hao-sheng in 1979 for people that may have difficulties in doing exercise or doing the full Tai Chi forms, which can be quite complicated and there's a lot of footwork. So we did create it so you can adapt it to whatever your ability is. So that's what I like to, you know, really get across. Just do what you feel you can do. Listen to your own body. If anything doesn't feel comfortable or painful, then you back off, you adapt the movement or you have a rest. Okay, so first of all, posture. So soft knees, we never lock out the knees. The feet ideally facing forwards, but because of our physiology sometimes and the hips, the feet may go out to the side. So make sure your knees go in the same direction as your toes if you do any knee bending. Imagine you're being pulled up from the crown gently to elongate through the spine, just gently tucking your chin back slightly so the neck can be in alignment with the spine. And then just letting the tailbone or the monkey tail just gently drop down so it's facing towards the earth. Almost like if your tail grew, then it would be plugging you in there. And that helps to open up the lumbar region of the spine, gently tilts the pelvis and softens the knees. So that's the ideal posture. But just do the best that you can do with what you've got. As the main thing is that you feel comfortable. Okay, so we're just going to do a quick warm-up. First of all, normally I would do a longer warm-up with the people that join my classes, because some of them are quite infirm or advancing in years. Okay, so first of all, feeling your feet on the ground, getting that sense of stability. Feet about shoulder width apart, not too close together, because that can affect your balance. And breathe, just allowing your breath to, you can do a cleansing breath if you want, so a deep breath in, and then just release it out, and this can help to relieve tension from the body, the mind and the body. And then we're just going to start with a gentle walk. So let's just gently warm up through the body, first of all. You can move your arms as well. Feel your feet on the ground, and this helps with the mindful movement because you're putting the tension into the places where you can feel that connection to the surface. And then your arms, just feeling your arms. Notice the play of air around the fingers, through the fingers and the hands. And then we'll stop and cross over. So cross crawl, one of June's favourites. And this helps to wake up the left and right hemispheres of the brain and the body. And again, it just helps the flow of chi, the blood fluids to the brain, just so we can help to get things working more efficiently, more harmoniously. So crossing over, you can keep it very low if that feels better, or if you are feeling energetic, you can bring the elbows towards the knees. So again, just doing what you can do right now, and that could change from day to day. And then we're going to just cross over, do the John Travolta. So bringing a bit of fun into activities as well obviously helps to alleviate stress, and that again can help with the overall health and well-being. Not taking yourself too seriously and just improving your quality of life with fun. Get outside in nature, and these practices are good to do outside actually, and you get the benefit of the energy of nature as well. And then we'll do some happy clapping. So this is a bit of a cardio workout. Professor Lin Hao Sheng does like a 4-minute workout just to get everything moving. And that's on YouTube. But again, only do what you can do. Have a rest if you need to. And then stop, check in with yourself, notice how you're feeling. And then we're just going to start to bounce. So this is where we start pumping the bloods, the fluids, the chi through the body. Stretching the fingers out. Now this is good for arthritic hands as well, stretching out and improving that elasticity, getting the fluids through the joints. And then just bringing the palms towards the lower abdomen, what we call the lower dantian. One of the main energy centre, just to fill up there. And then going from the chest, just opening the chest. Now you can slow it down if that feels better. In the video with Professor Lin Hao Sheng, there's some really quirky Chinese music. And the people in my classes love it. So I play the music in the classes and they absolutely love it. And it always makes them smile. And then if it feels comfortable, just going above the head. Or you can keep it a bit lower if that feels better. You might find that your heart rate's going up a little bit, and a little bit breathless. And then shoulders going forwards. So if you feel any discomfort again, any pain, like some people might have one shoulder that they've got an injury with, you can just move the other one. Do what your body can do right now. And then backwards, opening across the chest, create some space through the chest, around the heart. Don't forget to breathe. And then just putting your hands on your hips if that's comfortable, or at the sides of your body. And we're just going to turn the head to the side, just gently opening through the neck. So this is a quick warm-up. Like I say, I usually spend a lot longer on the warm-up. Breathing into the centre, breathing out to the side. Back to the centre and then down. Just increasing that mobility in the neck area, gently warming up through the muscles, tendons and ligaments, and then release. Have a little shake out. So we're just going to do a couple of movements. The first 4 movements in Shibashi set 1 is an overall practice for each part of the body. There is 18 movements altogether. Shibashi means 18 movements in Chinese, but we'll just do about 3 movements of each one in the first 4 movements, because then you've had an overall practice. So hands at the sides of the body, just allowing the shoulders to drop down, remembering your posture, lengthening up and down. So the first movement, we're just going to raise the arms no higher than shoulder height as you breathe in gently through the nose. Fingers point up, and then they just go down as you breathe out. Now the breath is a gentle in-breath through the nose as you rise up, and a very gentle out-breath through the mouth as you sink down, bending the knees if that's comfortable, but keeping the back straight as possible. So breathing in as you come up, and this helps to launch the chi throughout the system, throughout the meridians, and it's also very balancing, so it can help to balance blood pressure with practice. And then we're going to go on to number 2. Arms rise up, palms face each other just above the shoulders, and then just letting the arms glide out, almost like they're gliding on a smooth surface. Then the palms come back towards each other and face down, bending the knees as you go down. So this is where the breathing coordinates with the movement. So we breathe in as we come up and out gently. We breathe out as you gather and sink the chi back down to the feet. Breathe in gently, open the arms, and the image for this is a beautiful sunrise. So imagine your favourite place looking out onto the horizon, and then sink down. Now the next one, you bring the arms up just as high as you can manage. You can bring them in front of your chest if that feels better. I'll just turn around for this. You put the weight in your right leg, the right hand hovers above the head, and you look towards the left fingertips. Then you transfer the weight over to the left leg and turn to the right, looking at the right fingertips. You breathe in as you go to the left. You breathe out as you go to the right. So it's a little twist with the body here, and you've got the rhythmic movements. You're going from one side to the other, so you're exchanging the weights. And this one's called Dancing with Rainbows. So imagine a beautiful rainbow of colours between the palms of the hands. Very strengthening for the upper body as well. And then as you breathe out, releasing the arms down, just a little squat down, keeping the back straight, gathering up from the earth, coming up through the central line of the body. And then we push the palms out and down. So we breathe in gently through the nose as we come up. And this is called separating clouds. Breathe out as you go down. So this is really good to get that energy up, that oxygen up to the brain, to brighten the mind, expand our consciousness, or what it's known as Shen in Chinese medicine. And just imagine swimming in the sky, separating the clouds, clearing the mind. So if anyone suffers from brain fog, this is a really good one to do. And again, you can adapt the movement. You don't need to bring the hands above your head. You can just bring them in front of the head and clear that fog away from the mind. Very good for the shoulders, inflammation of the shoulders as well. Getting that rotation through the shoulders. And then just bringing the hands to the side. We'll finish off with pushing palm to calm the chi. So gathering up, palms face up first of all, elbows out. And then round about your nose area, the palms face down and you push down. Now this helps to calm the chi that we've cultivated. Helps it to settle down. Also helps to calm the mind, the heart. Bringing that sense of peace, tranquility. So again, that's important as well, to learn how to just relax and bring some of that peace into your life. Beneficial for health and well-being. Breathing in gently as you come up. Breathe out gently as you go down. And this is a harmonizing breath. So this is what we want to create, harmony within the body, helping things to work harmoniously together. Just do one more, breathing in, breathing out, just pushing down, and just allowing any excess chi to just gently be released through the feet. But the rest of it, what we need in our body will just be there to help us throughout the day. And just tune into your energy every so often. Just notice, how am I feeling right now? Just holding your hands there, just in front of the lower dantian, and just gently filling up. Now, for people that may have low energy, June mentioned this before, that you can't just jump into things, especially if you have got low energy, if you're lethargic, depleted. Placing one hand on top of the other, we've got acupressure points there, the Laogong points, and we'll warm them up first. They should be quite warm anyway with the practice we just did. And this is a passive practice where we can do this seated, lying down, standing. And I was advised to do this from my teacher when I was quite ill on one of the training weekends on Zoom. And I just laid down and did this. And this helps us to replenish. If you just drop your breath down, just breathing in and out to the lower abdomen, the lower dantian. And imagine you're just filling up your reservoir of chi, replenishing yourself from any lost energy, whether it be through illness, being busy, stress related, shock, trauma. They can all affect the energy in the body, of course. And just breathing in and out. And this helps to balance and ground as well. Centering ourselves. And you can do this for as long as you like. And sometimes it's good when you can't sleep at night, just to focus on this area as well. And then just bring your feet together. One last movement. Breathing in. Raising the arms up. Let's gather some more of that beautiful chi, that light energy coming down, centering, aligning and balancing. And just acknowledge yourself and give yourselves a bow. Well done, everybody. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you so much. I know everybody loves taking part.
You're welcome.
See a few people saying yes. It really energizes you. Please, can you help me with some terminology so I can put something in the description? It's really hard to make notes of what you're doing and joining in as well. So if you send them to me and I can put them in the description for people.
Okay, yeah, I will do.
All right.
Yeah. And one
Thank
more
you.
thing, ladies, after being on both sides of the medicine industry, I will never, ever medicate. Never. So I will never do that. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much. Just before we go,
Yes.
we've got two more things that we want to share with you. First of all, if you don't mind, June's just going to show us her Meridian brush because we've been asking her for so long.
I forgot
and
again.
We're going to go over to Maureen, but we do need to be reminded of this, and it's great to have it on record.
Okay.
So over to you.
It's
Thank you, June.
difficult in this little space that I've got, but you can't see my full body because there's a wall right here and I can't get the camera any further away. So basically I'll talk you through it and do it at the same time, and hopefully you can follow. There is a little video on my Telegram channel. You can scroll back up and down to try and find it as well. And it also shows me doing it for someone else, because you can do this for small people or anybody who's incapacitated. You can do it for them. So basically you want to run up the central meridian to the chin and up the governing vessel. Central and governing are the two reservoir meridians in the body. And the back, you just reach up and twist your arm around. So you have to go up and then grab it from the top and bring it over. It's like you're pulling it over the top of your head, and that ends up on your top lip. So they meet there, and then they go into the mouth and down through the middle of the body and out the perineum. So you don't need to worry about that. That bit you can't influence. That's just going to happen. So do those two. You can do them together or separately. And then you start on the face and you go over the face, down over the chest, down over the outside of the legs, down the outside of the shins, and off the feet. And you just brush off the top of the feet. Then you come back to the inside of the instep of the feet and the big toe and gather the 3 meridians that come up there, and you bring them up to the chest. And then you take the 3 meridians that come from the chest down to the inside of the hand. So you're brushing something off your hand, like you're cleaning something off. Somebody gave me that suggestion. I believe it was someone in here, and I think it's a brilliant idea just to say you're brushing something away, but you're actually drawing that energy away, and you're not sending the energy away because you're just smoothing out any creases in it, if you like, or any obstacles. And then you turn your hand over, you come back on the outside of the hand, up the outside of the arm, 3 more meridians here. You're coming up over your ear and over to your nose. So you're drawing those 3 up. They all end up on the head in slightly different places, but this is just a general brush that takes the 3 in all the different places. 3 going down, 3 coming up, 3 going out, 3 coming in. And we'll just do the final one where you go over the top of the head from down the back. And I know you can't hear me when I turn my back on you. So you go down the back of the legs and off the little toe. And that's that.
Thank you, June. I'll add the link to your video as well so that people can find that
Oh, thank you. Yes, because I sent that to you the other day, didn't I?
Yeah, and in fact, what I can try and do is put it on YouTube as a separate, so people can just go straight to it as well without having to go through everything else.
Well, I really ought to get my own YouTube channel working properly, but yes, yes.
Yeah, get one. I have a 1 month ban because of Dr. Tess's video and because of the EU summit.
Yeah,
So be careful on YouTube now.
exactly.
And we have Greg Braden this week. So anyone can call Shlomo for a private Zoom. He took me in for free, but I will pay to pay. Greg has a free masterclass.
Oh, thank you.
Energy. Yeah.
Thank you,
We
Laura.
have Greg this week, and I've told them about you all, and we are all very grateful.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for joining us as well and for sharing, PHA. And finally, let's introduce the wonderful Maureen. Good morning, Maureen. It's lovely to have you. Welcome.
Good morning. Just had to pat my hair down after that brushing. I can't thank everyone today. Had a bad night's sleep, woke up feeling needing another night's sleep, and I can't tell you how both the Qigong and the brushing has just made me back to normal, which I didn't think was possible. So thank you so much. And I'd just like to share something. Things happen for a reason, and this little piece of card just popped in, and I just thought it might be useful for us to just ponder over. Let's decide today to be the best version of ourselves that we can be, no matter what is going on around us. If we've got people around us that are trying to hurt them, let's choose how we're going to respond to that. Let's choose to be our best self. Let's choose to do what's best for us. So even if it's just in the moment taking 10 seconds to do some of Robin's movements or June's brushes, or even just let's be kind to our feet. So it's just tiny little things. It says, sweet girls, it wasn't that you weren't enough, it's your energy. It asks others to rise up, and not everyone is willing to go where they would grow. Butterflies rising. Seeing Helen's foot with the butterfly. This is odd. Helen's foot with the butterfly, and then this card just popping from the lots of papers around my desk. I think it kind of like was meant to be. So let's maybe decide today to be a butterfly and be free of whatever has been plaguing us, both physically, mentally. Let's give it a try, because if it gives us even the slightest improvement of having a better day, then it's worth doing. But imagine the life is creating a cocoon around us, and the harder our life is, the harder that this caterpillar inside has, it's harder to get out. So let's all be butterflies today. Do whatever it takes, even if it's for 5 minutes, dependent on what's going in our world, hopefully the whole day. Let's break free, because we are in charge of our mind. Let's break free and be a butterfly today, and choose, no matter if people want to be hurting us, if they want to make us scared, if they want to insult us because of their issues, then let's decide, put a force field around us. We're protecting us, the butterfly. We're free to be us in that moment. So just choose today, no matter what happens, to have your best response. So happy, freedom, wonderful Wednesday. That's it.
Well said, Maureen. We are in charge of our emotions. We are not our emotions. I'm sure you've told me that before. We can all go on and be butterflies. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for your contributions this morning. It's been really fascinating, and I think a really diverse topics that we've covered as well, not just chronic disease. Lots of practical things to follow. Thank you for your what you've contributed as well, Lara. Great to have you here, and everybody else. Would anyone like to say anything before we go?
Yeah, the 3-month blastversary, we call it, of the worst thing that we ever witnessed. So I've seen the worst this reality has to offer. I was born on a gunshot wound, but my trauma goes back to my mom's womb when she was 3. So I worked on it, and I've sat on every inch months on end to feel what I felt, feeling every layer, and then what others did. So a near death has a gift. You come back without cultural conditionings, and you just want to be just contribution. That's it. So yeah,
And here you
trauma,
are.
90% it's gone just by being this. Yeah.
And you're here smiling, your beautiful smile, and sending us your love and your warmth. You're amazing. You're very welcome. Anybody else on that note? Okay, thank you so much. It's been a fabulous morning. Wonderful Wellbeing Wednesday to you all, whether you're watching now or if you've watched the recording. Thank you so much on behalf of the People's Health Alliance. We welcome you and we thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Goodbye.